Hi, I'm going to jump straight in today and continue the conversation about mental health awareness. I'm going to touch a little on mental illness with concern that I may not do it justice, and knowing that it's not a conversation that is had easily, that we need more understanding and more knowledge about having the conversations and listening to those that need help. And I am not a health professional. Today's conversation isn't about fixing mental illness. It's about being willing to have that conversation, to be open without judgment, with the hope that the more conversations we have, the better it will be for everyone. I want to think you're now in a crowded room. And as I'm asking you these questions, stand up if you know someone. Stand up if you know somebody that has had suicidal thoughts or tendencies. Stand up if you know somebody that has bipolar disorder. Stand up if you know somebody who has post-traumatic stress disorder. Stand up if you know somebody that has multi-personalities. Stand up if you know somebody that has postnatal depression. Stand up if you know somebody that's had depression or has depression. And stand up if you know somebody who has anxiety. Can you imagine what the room looks like? Do you think anyone is standing alone? Or more to the point, is there anyone left sitting down? We are all touched in some way, shape, or form with mental illness. It is really hard to know what is happening in someone else's life when you visually cannot see sometimes that there is a problem. We don't know what anyone is feeling, even if we have actually gone through the same illness. It is still ours alone. But with more understanding and more awareness and more communication, we do not need to feel like we are alone anymore. So I have another question. How often have you had a conversation with somebody that's broken their arm and you want to know how it's going to be fixed, or how they've healed the bone, or, did they have surgery? Do they only need plaster? Because it can be seen and there is no stigma around breaking your arm. But unfortunately, there has been, for a very long time, a stigma with mental health. I have heard personally, and I've heard others say things like, it's all in your head. You can fix this. And there is a part of mindset that can help. But if there is a part in our brain that isn't wired properly or firing properly, we need some sort of help to balance the chemicals, to have them where they should be. Because it's not seen, it's difficult to understand. But for the person who's suffering mental illness, it's even harder to explain. All they know is that they don't feel right anymore. They don't feel like themselves. That life has become harder than they can bear. or there's something that they think they're not normal. It must be, well, it's not, it must be, it is. It is so much harder to convey to somebody else what you're going through. Question. If in any way our body is not supporting us, do we not normally seek help? Like the broken arm. Why keep stigma and judgment on mental health when our body, our brain needs the support and the help from physicians and family, friends and loved ones, to be able to sit down and have the conversation and know, no matter how we are today, that we are okay and that we are loved and that we're not alone. For that person that you stood up in the room for, that you know that's going through something right now, that may have just been given a new diagnosis, that may be struggling at the moment and not seeking help, that may have had an illness for quite some time but is still learning how to live the roller coaster that they're living, to get life to be the best life they can live, to give them some thought in what they need with your support. And if they ask, listen. Keep the conversation going. After the moment that you've given your friend or your family member a thought, I want you to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What are your needs today? Are you feeling stressed or anxious or overwhelmed? Or is there something that's been sitting that you've just ignored and it's sitting on your back like it's in a backpack? Acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. I know today I've probably run off task, run off tangent, and I certainly haven't kept to any script. And I really thank you for being here with me, listening. I know this is a drip in a big ocean. But if we were to all add a drip to that big ocean, it would make a difference. So again, thank you for being here. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's be more aware and more understanding for ourselves, our friends and our loved ones and our work colleagues. If any part of this conversation has you knowing in your heart that you need to speak to somebody, seek help. Talk to someone. You're not alone and you don't need to be alone. Next week, I'm going to continue talking about mental health awareness, but next week I'm going to come at it from a lighter heart and not so heavy, and hope that this has encouraged more discussion on mental health awareness.